The Supreme Court of Nigeria has delivered its final judgment of the suit instituted by state governments on CBN's Naira redesign policy. The judgment delivered by Justice Emmanuel Agim upheld that the implementation of the Naira redesign policy is invalid and that old Naira notes are to coexist with the new Naira notes till December 31, 2023. In the judgment, he referred to the case of India, and the court advised the respondents, that is, the federal government, to ensure that money is made available to Nigerians at all banks and outlets. Other relevant scenarios, such as the untold hardship faced by Nigerians, lack of consultation of State Council, and among other issues, were cited. And it is on this note the program shall discuss the substantial issues considered until the final judgment that was delivered at the Supreme Court. Welcome to Nigeria Today. I am Victoria Clinton, the host. Nice to have you join us. Joining us in the studio is one of our close associates, a public affairs analyst and a lawyer, Ahmed Abubakar Tanimu. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
It's always a delight having you.
Always a delight. Thank you for having me.
Also, we have another public affairs analyst as well as a financial analyst, Farouk Abdullahi. Thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you.
I'll start with you, Tanimu. The Supreme Court has invalidated the Naira redesign policy. I know somehow you're somehow glad with that, because the last time you came on the program, I know how much you talked about this policy and its timing. However, they said they said on the grounds that it was not done with due consultation and in line with constitutional provisions. And of course, they said the old notes should be remain in legal tender alongside the new notes until December 31, 2023. Can you please enlighten us on this and its implication?
Thank you very much. I'll start by congratulating the Supreme Court and the entirety of all Nigerians. The supremacy of rule of law has been practiced and eschewed, so we should be happy. What is left now is compliance. It's one thing for a judgment to be delivered, and it's another thing for the judgment to be complied. Already, the public should equally note there is contempt proceedings against the Attorney General of the Federation, and we are waiting to see the outcome, because there should be consequences for actions. If courts makes policy give a ruling, the ruling should be complied with. In this case, a court of competent jurisdiction, the highest court of the land, made a ruling, and people are busy arguing about if the court has jurisdiction. The Supreme Court is final. Even if it doesn't have jurisdiction, what it has stated that it has jurisdiction, it has jurisdiction. The Supreme Court can make a law to determine that a woman is now a man. If it got to that point, in the eyes of the law, she's no longer a woman but a man. So there's a need for the executive, that's the presidency, to show, to demonstrate compliance to rule of law. If you do not respect rule of law because you feel you have the powers, power is transient. You can be in America today. You see what is happening to Donald Trump. He's been asked to come and give account for certain actions that took place while he was in office. Immunity doesn't cover the CBN governor, doesn't cover the ministers, those under the president, even the president after his tenure. Actions, the essence of immunity is to kind of prevent frivolous action to be taken against a sitting president or a governor, but there will be consequences eventually. So people need to respect the law. The law is clear. The judgment today delivered was the unanimous decision. So there's no dissenting decision, because in Nigeria we like latching on the dissenting decision, saying that wanting it to be the main decision. But in this case, the judges were unanimous. They stand with the Nigerian people. They know the pains people have gone through. And, you know, it baffles me that at this point we are still arguing on the law is clear. You have, if you are redesigning the Naira note, the old notes will continue to be the legal tender. It's clear. You know, some of these legal rhetorics that seems to be confusing, it's not that difficult. It's a clear provision of the law. Most government agencies, they have a legal department. Before policies are made, they are supposed to go through those departments for legal input and advice. It seems Either they are not putting them to proper use, or they are not working with it, because this is a very important decision that needs the involvement of multi-dimensional stakeholders, everybody that has a role to play, from the security, from the Ministry of Digital Economy, from the people that are going to even bear the brunt of whatever policy that it is. You need to carry them along. You need to set in measures to see that if the policies is implemented, you identify the risks, you try to mitigate the risks. In this exact case, nothing of such was done, and we are still in this same quagmire. A lot of people are going through hell in the town, in Abuja. People are walking around, they cannot board taxi, they cannot take car because there's no cash. You go to buy, the last time I was in the market, and the man selling cattle said for other he can take transfer, but for cattle he will not, that it has to be cash, because where he's getting it from, the people over there in the villages, the Fulani herders, they say they don't have bank account, and they are not, for what is happening, they are not interested in even opening bank account. So the CBN got it wrong, I'm sorry to say. They should have focused more on trying to get people into the banking sector. That's ensure that more Nigerians have accounts, have bank accounts. Eventually, they will now be able to conduct businesses with ease. So the court cannot do everything, but at least it has made a pronouncement, and the pronouncement is very emphatic. Old notes should continue to serve, but the question is, do we still have those notes? I doubt much.
Thank you. Now, Farouk, of course, he has mentioned that there's hardship. People are suffering as a result of the policy. However, these same Nigerians that are suffering, some of them have they bought into the idea of the CBN, that the idea behind the policy was to strengthen economy, fighting security, criminality, mopping up excess cash in the circulation. Now, I know that whatever, however, the Supreme Court has given the order, it is final, just like you rightly said, but you cannot stop reactions. So what are the economic implications of this order?
Of the policy? Well, we thank God that the Supreme Court has bring to light the conflict and the issues arising around the implementation of the Naira policy. You see, people mirror this policy from two angles: the economic benefit and as well the consequence in the implementation of the policy. Nobody has come out to question the importance and the pertinence of the policy, because all the things you have mentioned that it is meant to solve, ideally it is going to solve all these issues. But the milestone that would take us to the limelight is what Nigerians now are experiencing the major brunt. Economically speaking, it is not having good impact, I put it in this way, because if you look at just the trading activities that is taking place predominantly by the unbanked society, the trading activity contributes 16% of the GDP, and now it has been substantially and significantly reduced. Production, our productive capacity have reduced because of the lack of this cash. So this ultimately affects the overall output in the economy, which ultimately would affect the GDP in the country. And people are suffering, It has affected all facets of life. If we talk about the security aspect as well, the military, the paramilitary, and all the security agents require cash at some point for their logistics and operations. So without this, how can they efficiently handle that? If you look at also this recent election that took place, the low turnout, we have seen a shortfall of voters turnout by 5 million, and it has been attributed to the lack of cash for mobility to move people around. And also some of the issues that have been highlighted that are arisen to the anomalies by INEC is the delay of some of the INEC staff to appear in their respective polling points. And this is linked to the lack of the logistics. There's no cash to move them to the respective voting points. Voters can't get to their polling units. because they don't have cash to pay Okada rider and other transporters, commercial transporters. So you see, we have to embrace the reality. You know, we cannot bring in a change of this magnitude overnight. We cannot transition from a cash-based society to a cashless society overnight. Nowhere it has been done in the world. And all these facts have been presented before the court of law, and the court has given their own judgment on that, you know, and they have extended it, and they have allowed for people to have the ease in their daily activities, which the hardship is ultimately caused because of the cash crunch. So we hope to see that the federal government and the central bank respect the court judgment this time around, because that is the only way out as far as I'm concerned. If not, we would continue to live in this quagmire and hardships and all that.
Okay, Chanimo, the defendants in that is the person of the Attorney General, they harped on the fact that the Apex Court lacked the jurisdiction to decide on the case. Now, they said that the CBN should be joined in the suit, and I know that there's what we call the original jurisdiction. Can you talk to us about the cases that fall within the purview of this original jurisdiction?
Thank you very much. In the legal parlance, there's what we call, as you rightly pointed out, jurisdictions of courts. If you're having a matter, the most important thing that you have to consider is to know where to instigate and to commence the action from. So the first thing that you look at are the parties. Who are the parties to this suit? Basically, you have the federal government on one hand and the state government on the other hand. In the hierarchy of court, when you have issues that deals with disagreement between the components of the federating unit, that's the federal and the state government, is the Supreme Court. There's no doubt about that. There's no gainsaying that. Then the argument of the Attorney General and those that toe his line, they tend to want to argue that because the CBN is the driver of this policy, so they ought to be a party to this suit. But it's not in all cases that you have to be a party to a suit before you be affected in one way or the other. Most Nigerians are not party to this suit, but at the end, they will drive the ultimate benefit. Will you want to fault the judgment of the courts on the basis that all Nigerians are not litigated upon, are not made party to this suit? The answer is no. The necessary party in this case is the federal government and the state government, and that is what was done. The CBN is a creation of our act, but in all its functionalities is under the federal government, under the executive arm of the federal. The CBN governor came out on air and he stated that he is just a servant. He's taking directive. Why is it that it's the president that is saying to Nigerians that the 200 naira denomination will continue to be used? In fact, factually, it shows that he is in charge. The CBN governor and the whole of CBN apparatus, they are directly under. One thing most people don't know, the Nigerian president is the most powerful president on it, if you look at it in terms of the constitutional powers that he has. So for the argument of the Attorney General, I will not completely agree with him to the extent that the CBN is under the federal government. And you see, as I said, the Supreme Court is supreme because it has the power to assume jurisdiction even when it has no jurisdiction. That is the Apex Court. Ordinarily, matters of this nature, we want to go to the Federal High Court, you want to go to the High Court, you are starting from the lowest court up to the Supreme Court. But in instances where the Supreme Court have assumed jurisdiction, you can apply to be joined, that because my interests will be affected in one way or the other, and is in a public domain, public knowledge, I want to be heard. If the court deems it fit, based on what you have submitted before it, they might add you to be a party to the action. And if they feel that your presence will not add or change anything, they can dispense justice without you being joined to the matter. So that argument is faulty. It's faulty in all ramifications, faulty from the precedents, from the decided cases of the Supreme Court, in instances where they don't even have jurisdiction and they assume jurisdiction, and we stand by it. Any law, any decision made by the Supreme Court is final. It's now formed part of our gamut of law. Is one thing that, the concept of lawmaking is very extensive. Laws are equally being made by the courts. If a court makes a judgment, that judgment, as far as we are concerned, is a law. If a law is made and it has not been tested to some school of thought, that law remains in the annals of the book. But the moment it's now being tested in court, it now clearly demonstrates what import the law has.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's take a break here and hear from Nigerians on the topic of discourse as put together by our correspondent Thomas Ogbetere. Stay with us.
People are suffering. The truth of the matter, as you see me, I'm standing by the ATM. I'm here for the past 3 or 4 hours. I can't transfer and I cannot withdraw. They should look into the issue. Nigerians are suffering. You have the money, but you cannot make use of the money. Court injunction that they passed the rule that the old one should be in existence. And it's a welcome idea.
And to my surprise, the Supreme Court has ordered that should be using old currency and new currency, no one that is implemented.
No, that's terrible. There's poverty in the land, and but where you have millions of naira in your accounts, and you don't have access to it, that's more terrible. That compounded the whole problem.
See, no money. The people that they were giving people 5,000 naira. So when it gets to our own turn, they said money has finished. They should bring the old one out. I think that one is more preferable because this new one, they are using it to suffer people like us. We are going through a lot.
It's a good one because at least there is going to be a relief. But the question is, where is the old cash, the old notes? So I don't really know. So if the bank will be releasing both the old for us, so we don't have issue with that.
Okay. They say they want to curtail vote buying, and I didn't see them doing anything. That I don't know. We never hear from president. Until the president talk, then we will know that what the court said is true.
Welcome back. It is still Nigeria today, and we are discussing the Supreme Court order on Naira redesign. My guests are still here with me. Farouk, you had the reaction of people there, and people, in fact, the last speaker there said, we've not heard from the president. Yes. So the president speaks. Mm-hmm. So, you see, I know that it's been, the hardship is telling on people. People are complaining about the hardship. But again, they are still calling for efficient electronic payment system and, of course, improving the technological infrastructure to make the policy seamless. So what's your take?
Yeah, thank you. Well, on the person that reacted until we hear what the president said, well, it's important because the president at this point is meant to give the country a sense of direction as and bring light as regards to the position of the Supreme Court, which I believe the supremacy of the judicial system should always prevail in matters arising of such substance. However, if you look at the reaction, the issues, the difficulties, the challenges that we are encountering today, it all rooted down to the implementation milestone that the policy did not give the ample time, the ample space needed for that transition. You know, the electronic channels, the online banking systems and platforms, we have been experiencing serious network glitches over the time, and this is really affecting businesses, it is affecting households, it's affecting everyone, virtually everybody in the society, in the economy or in the country is being affected. So if there is ample time, the banks and the necessary institutions will prepare themselves, will better equip themselves to accommodate significant volumes of transactions and all that. In that case, there won't be any traffic or network glitches and all that. That will be squarely mitigated. And also, we hope to see a relief by this policy, be it that whether the old notes are no longer in existence or whether they are, we need, the economy need to be floated, or rather floated with reasonable cash that will accommodate the economy and that would make sure transactions and businesses are being done seamlessly. Today, I sent one of my workers on an errand, and he told me he don't have cash to move himself. I said, how is that possible? Go to any POS, you'll be able to access at least 2,000 naira. I drove him down. I think we went along over 10 POS operator agents. They don't have a dime, you know. So I wonder, an amount that is as insignificant as 2,000 naira. I went down to 1,000. It wasn't available. 500 wasn't available. 200 naira wasn't available. Then what are we saying? And if you look at one of the major reasons that also triggered this policy and the short implementation window is due to the fact that money is being hoarded. There are a lot of cash is not within the control of the financial institution, which ultimately is a problem. Nobody would deny that. But now what is happening, you know, how many people or businesses are taking back these new notes that are printed back into the financial system as cash deposits? Ultimately, it means that the little amount that was released is being hoarded too, because it's not going back to the financial system. So it has created a mindset and a kind of fear on the banking population that if you take your money back to the system, you won't be able to get anything close to that. You know, if I take 10,000, how do I get it back if I needed it? You know, and this has contradicted the policies within the banking industry. You know, as a depositor, you have the right to go and claim your money. And I don't know the position of other policies that guides cash-based transaction. If you look at the recent anti-money laundering policy, which limits cash-based transactions for individuals to 5 million, while for corporate organizations to 10 million. So where is that? Where do they place that policy? You know, so to me, this policy and stiffness around the policy is a deprivation of the fundamental rights of Nigerians, and I'm glad the Supreme Court has addressed this issue.
Yeah, Tanimu, yes, the Supreme Court has gave an order, but even though before now the President has said 200 naira is still in use till the 10th of April, still we are not still seeing the money. So what's how we still going to see the money within this period?
I doubt very much. My suspicion is that those old naira notes are ordinarily, maybe by now, I don't think they are in existence anymore. So the difficulty will arise that this law cannot be complied with. A law is what we call protecting the rest. If you are fighting over a building and you've not taken necessary measures, or if either of the party wants to be mischievous, they can go ahead and destroy the property. So the way judgment is given, the property must have long gone.
Well, is it not also possible that there are some saboteurs trying to sabotage the policy by hoarding? He mentioned people are hoarding the cash. You know, is there a possibility?
In every society, there are saboteurs. So what you do is that you make arrangements, you identify, you project, and you try to mitigate. You reduce the efficacy of whatever evilish plans that they have. We've not done it because from the word get-go, they lack plan, they lack focus, they were not proactive, and they could not even react appropriately to the challenges that they are being confronted with.
Okay, thank you very much. That's it on Nigeria Today. But before we go, I would like to say a very big thank you to my guests. Ahmed Abubakar Tanimu is a lawyer and also a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you for having me.
And also Farouk Abdullahi, a financial analyst and also a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And to our viewer, thank you for always being there. And don't forget, Nigeria Today airs weekdays at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24. Once again, thank you for watching. I'm your carrier, Clinton, saying goodbye.